Let's go. Time to grind, get inside your mind. Yeah, we working overtime. That's the only way to climb. We gon' make it in our prime. Signing on the dotted line, cashing checks left and right. That's the way I'm living life. I feel alive when I got a goal in sight. Chip away, I gotta fight. Ain't nobody else in sight. Man, I think I see the light. Yeah, that shit is so bright. Follow me, I got the guide. See you on the other side, son. Ain't nobody know what I've been through.
What is going on, everyone? And in this video, I'll be giving you my UFC Vegas 75 main card predictions for the upcoming event taking place this Saturday, June 17, 2023, out of Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. In the main event in the evening, Vettori versus Cannonier. I would say that's a pretty solid matchup in the middleweight division. Co-main event, Arman Tsarukyan taking on Joaquim Silva in a lightweight bout. I think that's a fight for Tsarukyan to win, but we'll talk about it later. And then the rest of the card, it's not a bad UFC Vegas card. Obviously, we've seen worse cards than this. Another UFC Vegas card, so we'll just get into it. So last event was not my event. Definitely got crushed on that one. Did okay on the main card, obviously, but the prelims and all that just wasn't my night. But we try to go again on this one. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. In the first fight on the main card, we have Nikolas Dalby, 21-4-1, taking on Muslim Salikhov, 19-3 in a welterweight bout. So this is an interesting fight because Salikhov, very dangerous. Strong kickboxing, can mix in the grappling. A little bit of a low volume, but he does have like really good hooks and all that. So he has really good power, and realistically, it only is going to take one of these spinning kicks to the body or to the head, or just a big hook to alter the way the fight is. And then if he can mix in his grappling, you know, better for him. He did find success in his last fight against Andre Filaho, but before that, you know, he was on a win streak, but then he ran into Li Jingliang, and Jingliang was pretty much able to connect, I guess, with one of those shots eventually, and just kind of took him out of it. Salikhov did get a takedown in that fight, but Jingliang got his own takedown. So that was a pretty tough fight. I think Salikhov ran into someone that could literally just trade and bang with him, and you know, that's my concern with this fight, because when you look at someone like Nikolas Dalby, it's not like he's knocking people out left and right, or he's known for his power, but he definitely does have pretty strong shots, and he can stay in a fight, and he's gonna keep that volume up, right? So he's always gonna be throwing something out there, leg kick, body kick, just getting in your face, hitting you with a jab. He can hold his own a little bit in the grappling. I mean, he has obviously been taken down, but he doesn't. I don't know if he's going to be taken down at will in this fight. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Salikhov can like hold them down basically without Dalby getting up. But I think it's going to be a lot for Salikhov on the feet early on, or just throughout the fight, because Dalby's going to keep that volume up, and he's always going to be showing him something, right? And that kind of pressure, that kind of constant in your face, it can start to weigh on your cardio, especially if you're like, if Salikhov's trying to land those big hooks and he's just not finding it, it can start to drain. You know, he can definitely start to lose a lot of his energy. Nikolas Dalby, yeah, I don't expect him to, you know, I don't expect him to get a KO here or anything like that, but I just feel like just the wear and tear, like even against the fence, you know, Dalby has some pretty good knees. You know, he has pretty good strength, so even if he does get taken down, he's gonna get back up, right? Or at least if he wants to win, he's gonna get back up, and then he's gonna be able to keep, again, just wearing on his opponent, throwing out something. He does eat a shot though, so it's a little sketchy. Salikhov, I mean, at the end of the day, if you land one of those big hooks on your opponent, you know, you're not gonna have too much left in the fight. So Dalby has to be a little bit careful there of eating too many of those big shots, and you know, keeping the range, finding the range a little bit, but still constant volume in your face. If you're taking me down, I'm getting back up. If we're against the fence, I'm not just kind of accepting the position and getting taken down. I'm throwing knees to the body, just doing something at all times, Nikolas Dalby. And yeah, I don't know, I just feel like Nikolas Dalby, I feel like he's getting, I think he's not the favorite in this fight. I think he's getting a little bit counted out in this one. And I mean, he could get crushed, Nikolas Dalby, but at the same time, you always got to take an underdog here and there. So for me, yeah, let's see what Nikolas Dalby has He's going to have to really bring the fight to Muslim Salikhov, really be aggressive, and just kind of overwhelm him over the course of those 3 rounds. But Salikhov is tough, and I don't see Dalby landing the shots that like Li Jingliang landed on him. So I'm not going to take Dalby to finish, but I'm going to go Nicolas Dalby to defeat Muslim Salikhov. I'll take him to win by a decision. In the second fight on the main card, we have Manuel Torres, 13-2, taking on Nicolas Motta, 13-4. So pretty close records. Manuel Torres coming into this fight, 2 wins inside of the UFC. Well, I guess 1 win inside the UFC and then 1 win in Dana White Contender Series. Both, he was able to get that round 1 KO TKO. In his fight against Frank Camacho, pretty dominant fight. Came out swinging. Really loves to do that. Get in close, stay aggressive. Now, he is trading these wild hooks, so he definitely ate some shots against Frank Camacho, but his chin held up, so he has a pretty good chin. But when he comes in there, like, he's going for it. Like, he's going to come right off the bat. And I think there's moments for him to get tagged. It's just you have to take advantage of it. You have to kind of take a step back, judge that distance, and then when he does get overly aggressive, you got to pop him. Like, you got to act fast. So when you have a guy like that, I think it can overwhelm your opponent, but at the same time, a better striker, someone who's a little bit more composed, I think can take advantage of it and snipe you with some of those hard shots. Maybe Torres in this fight tries to look to get the fight to the ground. I mean, that could be something. I don't necessarily think so. I think he's going to come out super aggressive and just try to take Motta's head off. But that being said, Nicolas Motta, I think in his last fight against Frank Camacho, not against Frank Camacho. In his last fight against Cameron Van Camp, he was a lot more composed because when he took on Jim Miller, he got taken out. But against Cameron Van Camp, he was a little bit more composed. He got the knockdown. And yeah, I mean, I like how he's sitting back and he's trying to snipe you. He's not going to just run in there and start swinging wildly. I don't think that's going to work too well for him in this fight. So hopefully he's patient early, taking advantage of Torres being super aggressive, and then look for those big counters. They might not come right away, but I do think they could be there. Motta can't brawl, obviously. And then Torres, I think, will give him plenty of moments early on for him to counter, which is why I think one of these guys is going to go out, right? So you have Torres, who obviously can come out, start landing those hooks, connect with something, and just overwhelm Motta, or we could see Torres come out, get sniped, countered big, Motta's able to finish him. Because I think Motta, if he does hurt him, like, he's going to jump on him. Both guys are going to jump on each other really quick if one of them hurt each other. It's not going to be one of these things where, they're just kicking their legs. Like, nah, they're gonna fall through and try to take their head off. So it's a tough fight just because I think Motta definitely can win. But I can see Torres obviously just running through him, and Torres might not be able to take him down. I think Motta does have good takedown defense, so he might not get taken down in this fight. And if it's a standing fight, yeah, I think Motta can definitely win that as well. Stay composed, stay patient, and fire back. And again, I think this might be another underdog pick. Yeah, so Motta's a slight underdog at plus 135, at least according to Tapology. So yeah, let's see what happens. I'm gonna go Nicolas Motta on this one. I think whoever wins round number 1, we're gonna find out. So I'm gonna go Nicolas Motta to defeat Manuel Torres. I'll take him to win by round 1 KO TKO. In the third fight on the main card, we have Pat Sabatini taking on Lucas Almeida. 17-4 for Sabatini, and then 14-1 for Almeida. Sabatini is coming off of a loss, his first loss inside the UFC. He was on a 4-fight winning streak against Damon Jackson. Got caught in that fight, pretty much. I mean, that's all you can really say. And then Jackson was able to finish him KO TKO. Before that, though, he had 2 wins: decision, submission heel hook, and then another decision. So he can definitely take someone down. Sabatini, I think that's primarily his goal, was to get you on the floor, work the ground. Really low volume on the feet as far as even in his decision victories. So again, he probably wants to take you down, hold you down, just kind of work that whole game there. I think he can threaten with submissions on the floor. It's not like he's submitting everyone that he's fought, but he's definitely going to be looking for that and trying to transition to a better position so he can get a submission. Whether or not he ends up getting that, that's that. And then at the same time, I think against Damon Jackson, he just got unlucky in that one. He got caught, and then, you know, not much else to say. For Lucas Almeida, he's coming in this fight with a win over Michael Trizano, KO TKO round number 3. Now, that was one of those fights where, I mean, Almeida got badly hurt by Trizano, and then, you know, he ends up coming back or whatever and getting the victory. Definitely outstruck him. 75 significant strikes landed in comparison to Michael Trizano's 31. And then in the first fight in the Dana White Contender Series, that was a decision loss. The other guy, Daniel Zellhuber, he was able to get at least one takedown going, and he outstruck him a little bit. But when you look at that fight against Trizano, Almeida can definitely get tagged. I think it's just the nature of his fighting style. You know, he definitely has really good speed, good hands. I think if he does get taken down with his background, he could probably look to threaten with some submissions. He can't just accept that grappling position. And like, because of those fast hands, that speed, he has to try to kind of do the same thing Damon Jackson did, get in his face, and then just try to land something big, see if he can disrupt that whole thing, because then Sabatini's going to be trying to dive in for takedowns, and that might not necessarily work if Almeida can hurt him badly early. Good leg kicks for Almeida as well. He has pretty good combinations, but at the same time, if Almeida gets a little crazy, I could see Sabatini also possibly rocking him or ducking under, getting the takedown, and then getting that control going. And then at this, you know, once that starts happening, it's going to be pretty much, I feel like Sabatini is going to be able to hold him on the floor. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Almeida is able to hurt him badly on the feet, or even possibly defend the takedown, right? That could also be a thing. But yeah, I think Sabatini is going to look to probably get that grappling going early. Why trade with a guy who might have faster hand speed than you? And especially coming off that last win against Damon Jackson in a fight where I feel like a lot of people thought he was going to win, and that didn't happen. And let alone get KO TKO'd like that. So for Pat Sabatini, yeah, to get back into that win column, he's got to get that grappling going, and we'll see if he can do that. But for me, I'm going to go Pat Sabatini to defeat Lucas Almeida. I'll take him to win by a decision. In the fourth fight on the main card, we have Armen Petrosyan, 8-2, taking on Christian Leroy Duncan, 8-0, in a middleweight bout. For Armen Petrosyan, he's coming to this fight with a win over AJ Dobson. Unanimous decision victory there, outvolumed him. He did get taken down 3 times, but when they were on the feet, he was just landing the better combinations, staying in his face. He has been taken down in every single one of his fights. So before that, he got taken down by Caio Borralho 4 times, Gregory Rodriguez in Dana White Contender Series 2 times, and then the one before that, well, he got the KO TKO via a kick. But even in that fight, he got taken down 3 times. So literally every fight he's been taken down, and I think he's more just relying on his striking. And again, he can throw some pretty hard shots, but it's nothing that I feel like is going to take someone out, especially like someone like Christian Leroy Duncan. Duncan is coming in this fight with a pretty good win. Well, he didn't win it technically, but against Dusko Todorovic, I mean, he only landed 9 strikes, but I just felt like before the whole situation with, what was it, Todorovic's leg or whatever, I felt like he might have, Duncan probably was on his way to teeing off on him. Very light on his feet, very fast. He did have a little bit of that rest. I mean, he's not taking someone down, but I felt like he handled himself good against the fence, against Todorovic. You know, he didn't just get taken down or whatever. So I don't think Petrosyan's going to be taking him down necessarily, but if they do get into any of those clinches or whatever, Duncan, I'm pretty sure he can handle his own. Obviously, Duncan, being light on his feet, looks to pick his shots. The one thing here is he's either going to need to take him out quickly or not let Petrosyan keep that volume up. Because even if Petrosyan isn't necessarily doing anything significant, if he's out striking him 118 strikes to like 58, he might win a decision. Duncan, just be fluid with your movement, right? Maybe throw the spinning attacks. We've seen him do that outside of the UFC. And I think Duncan, if he can pick his spots or whatever, he's going to be able to tag up Petrosyan. He just has to be patient with it. You know, don't overcommit. Don't gas yourself out trying to get that one-shot KO. So I think if Duncan can slow it down a little bit, you know, let Petrosyan put his volume up, but then try to you probably have the speed advantage, the fluidity. Just try to tag him up somewhere in there. Maybe that first round is the feel out round, and then the second round, Duncan's able to land something clean. Maybe he's got pushed up against the fence or anything, something like that. But at the same time, he's still doing well. So I think Duncan definitely could get a finish here, and he's gonna need to do something because you never like to see how he won in the last fight. Really wasn't much to that fight, whether he was gonna be on his way to winning that one or whatever. So still very interesting fight. Petrosyan's gonna be game, Duncan's gonna be game, so we'll see what happens. But for me, I'm gonna go Cristian Leroy Duncan to defeat Armen Petrosyan. I'll take him to win by round 2 KO TKO. In the co-main event of the evening, we have Arman Tsarukyan 19-3 taking on Joaquim Silva 12-4 in a lightweight bout. This is an interesting fight just because I feel like it's pretty straightforward. I think Arman Tsarukyan is like just the better fighter all around, like without a doubt. Like the more well-rounded fighter, the better grappler, the better striker, mixing in the combinations, has good power, just a little bit safer on the feet. Not too, he's not gonna just wildly swing his shots and leave himself exposed. I'm not saying he's invincible, but I just think he's overall just a better fighter than Joaquim Silva. So that being said, with Tsarukyan, a strong wrestling game. I think that's going to play a big thing in here, right? Silva's going to probably be anticipating him getting taken down or whatever. And I mean, Silva could definitely go for submissions when he's on his back, but still, Tsarukyan, I think, will be able to take him down. On the feet, Tsarukyan has a pretty good pace. Like I said, mixing in good combinations. I mean, his first fight in the UFC was against Islam Makhachev. He lost that fight via unanimous decision, but he did defend takedowns. He even got his own takedown. Very low volume fight, but still, I mean, what a fight to just jump right into the UFC with. Tsarukyan has just good striking defense. 1.93 strikes absorbed per minute, as in comparison to Silva's 4.58 absorbed. So that's something to keep an eye out on too. I think Tsarukyan will be able to land more on him, and like I said, to have the better defense. The cardio's there for Tsarukyan to keep up the wrestling and the combinations. So for me, I'm not really worried about Arman Tsarukyan here. Granted, he's not landing a significant amount of strikes per fight. I mean, he's against Matsus Gamrot. He made that one competitive. He did get taken down 6 times in that fight, but I don't see Silva having that same kind of grappling, wrestling as Matsus Gamrot. So, yeah. I mean, Silva's really going to have to hurt him with something like one of his big shots. Maybe defensively go for a submission. Tsarukyan gets a little too crazy with it. He has big power, right? He has a big overhand right. Silva could alter the fight if he lands that, but I think Tsarukyan also probably wants to get. You really gotta, if you're Arman Tsarukyan, you gotta go in here and just annihilate this guy. So I'm not even gonna take Tsarukyan to win by decision or anything like that. I'm gonna get right to it. So I'm actually gonna go Arman Tsarukyan to defeat Joaquim Silva. I'll take him to win by round 1. KO TKO. In the main event of the evening, we have Marvin Vettori 19-6-1 taking on Cannonier 16-6 in a middleweight bout, and this is probably a #1 contender fight or something, right? I guess depending on how it goes. If it's the most boring fight we've ever seen, maybe it's not, but hopefully one of them pulls off something crazy, or at least they make it exciting. This is a very interesting fight because both guys, I feel like, are the same kind of people, right? You have Marvin Vettori where you kind of know what he's going to do. He's going to come forward, get in your face. He has a solid chin. Against better strikers, he's not finding that success. But against pretty much everyone else, he's either mixing in grappling and then just staying in your face. Like putting on that grind, like no matter what. And he has the cardio to do it. So it's just like, what are you supposed to do if you're not out striking him? Cannonier is another one where I think at least before his last fight, but even in his last fight, like he won it by split decision or whatever. But he had the volume in that one, but he had to because he had to keep up with Sean Strickland's volume, which he technically didn't. But before that, he took on Israel Adesanya in a fight where, again, it was just like, what else? He was just kind of pretty much backing up and trying to counter he seems like he has all that power, but he's not aggressive with it. He's just kind of content just sitting back and hoping that he's gonna land one shot or alter the fight somehow. Pretty good leg kicks from Jared Cannonier. Before that, he beat Derek Brunson. Classic Brunson performance in that one. Before that, he defeated Kevin Gastelum, lost to Robert Whittaker. I don't know. I mean, both guys are losing to the same people pretty much losing to the same people for the exact same reasons of just not having that volume and kind of just being content with accepting low volume, which is why this fight could be a little bit concerning for me, because both guys might just be sitting back too much. But then again, for Cannonier, Vettori could just come forward, stay in his face, and he just wins the decision. And it's like, is Cannonier gonna actually like do something about it? Like, is he gonna be able to chop out his legs? Like, what can Cannonier do? Because I'm not saying Jared Cannonier can't win the fight, but it's like, I trust Vettori more to go forward, you know, mix in the grappling, even if he's not getting a takedown, just pushing him up against the fence, staying on top of him, throwing something out there. And again, maybe he's not doing the most damage, but in a fight like this, it's gonna come down to like who's controlling the octagon, who's winning the minimum grappling, and who has the better volume, right? So, well, it'll be interesting to see if this goes another decision, which I personally think it will. I don't feel like either guy is, you know, both guys are tough, whatever, and both kind of fight. They're a little bit content with just not putting up like the most volume ever. I mean, I guess Vettori did 190 significant strikes against Paulo Costa, which he won that fight via unanimous decision. So yeah, I mean, I guess he can. And Cannonier is not necessarily an Adesanya or Robert Whittaker, but neither is Vettori. So when I think of Jared Cannonier, I just feel like he has so much potential, but he just doesn't go for it as much. Like, he doesn't utilize his power. You know, he kind of, if he was just like a little bit more aggressive, I feel like he'd be knocking people out left and right. But he's kind of just content with countering and sitting back a little bit. And yeah, I don't know. Could be a close fight. But again, with the way these judges are sometimes, like, honestly, both guys could win another split decision or who knows what. But maybe we get to see a finish here. So my pick for this one is just going to be, I feel safe picking Marvin Vettori. Like I said, I just feel like he's gonna be the more aggressive one. He'll be throwing out the volume. He'll be trying to mix in the grappling. He has a strong chin, so I'm not really worried about him getting taken out. So in this one, I'm going to go Marvin Vettori to defeat Jared Cannonier. I'll take him to win by a decision.